Okay, we are ready to talk some Red Sox baseball leading up to a first pitch at once again 7:10. Make sure to follow me on X as you see. That's an @ sign, by the way. I had to bring out the big heavy hitter tonight, the Mountain Dew Zero. I bought the wrong one. Um, Baja Blast. Should I light on or yeah? Let's go light off. Let's vibe. Let's put the sign on. See what that looks like. All right, can't see it, right? Ah, what a disappointment. No, darn it. Got that sign specifically for this. All right, cool, man. Okay, so what do we got tonight? We have a chance for a series win for the Red Sox. That's pretty cool, isn't it? It's cool when you pitch too, which they have, which is good stuff. I talked about this on my podcast that I do, Red Sox Now, which you can find on YouTube. It's just search Red Sox Now. It started with Bayo. Bayo was good the other night. I know they didn't win the game, but he got you into the seventh. Giolito was fantastic last night. Absolutely fantastic. He gives you 6 scoreless. And now it's Buehler's turn. He's coming off 2 innings. The Red Sox can't have that again. I got a lot of messages today talking to some people, and they were going on about Cora's management of the bullpen. Um, I would agree with you if the pitching was good and he was wearing guys out, but it's not. So when the starting pitching's bad in the big leagues, it's tough, especially the stretch they're in. They have a day off tomorrow, which is their first day off in a long time. They have not been off in June, right? Okay, they were off on the 5th. I was wrong. But when you go back to that Angel series, so like let's go back to the Braves series. They didn't play great in. They didn't pitch great, and they came home and they had those games that were long. Their starters didn't go long in those games. Then Bueller goes 2 innings on Friday night, so your bullpen get kind of out of whack, and then you had that extra inning game on Monday, and but Bayo still helped, and then Giolito 6 solid, and then of course tonight is Bueller. So a lot of this stuff I've repeated. When it's all said and done, things look so much more beautiful when you pitch. That's what I thought that game was last night. The Red Sox have played a lot of those. They have lost 8 games when they've scored 5 or more runs. I believe 15 when scoring 4 or more. They're hitting us turn a corner. Really has. Peaks and valleys with younger players, something that I've talked about. A couple of buzzwords. We're going to take you up till 7. So if you have any comments, fire them over. Peaks and valleys with younger players. How about the difference in a night for Roman Anthony? You think Roman Anthony was a little nervous game 1? I would say yes. We're overdoing the. He knows how to field ground balls. By the way, base hits. They're just still working with him, but he can. He's fine. He made an error that hurt them in game 1, and then he gets a game-winning hit and makes 2 great catches, including a diving catch in right field. Looks good in right field. Cool interview with his parents and all of that. Good stuff. One thing today that people are upset about, and I can see both sides of this. The idea of not playing Meyer and Anthony against left-handed pitchers. Okay. First of all, I know what those guys hit in the minors against lefties. It's not many at bats, and like Lou Maloney said, those aren't big league arms. So it is coming out of a place of care if you're Alex Cora. He knows that at some point those guys are going to be everyday players and they got to learn. But right now, you're 3.5 games out and you have to sacrifice a little development because that's what that is. You're going to sacrifice development to win games. And I could understand those points if you're 7.5 games out. If you're the Rockies, if your season's over, I'm sure it would be different. But also, what happened over the weekend when you didn't play Meyer? You scored 10 runs Saturday, you scored 11 on Sunday. It's very hard for me to sit here. Romy Gonzalez, I think, is at 390 against lefties. It's limited to bats or 360. But he was 3 for 4 with a home run playing in the place of Meyer, and we know how Refsnyder hits against lefties. I know it comes from a place of love with all of you because you guys love those younger players, and you should. But they're still going to play a lot. All right? And listen, if those left-handed pitchers go 4 to 5 innings, Romy and Refsnyder are out, and Meyer and Anthony are in. They could still get 2 at bats, maybe 3. Romy get 4 hitting for Meyer in a game. And I think they'll play against – there's 3 straight lefties at Fenway for the Yankees. I don't think they'll sit all 3. Hard to argue, though, with the formula. And again, I still don't think that's a problem for the Red Sox, which I am completely shocked at some of the turnaround. I think you really have to give Trevor Story a lot of credit. I talked to Rich Gedman last week before a game, as I'm one of the broadcasters for the Woo Sox, for those that don't know. And I asked Rich some questions, And, Rich didn't name the players, but he said, listen, you have one guy that's not played a lot in 2 years. You got to give him some time. Yeah, you're right, Mike. This is really, innings. We need innings. But, Rich said to me, you got to give Story a little bit of time. It's hard to miss that much time in the big leagues. It's 2 years. And let's see if this continues, right? Let's see. But he's been better against velocity. And when you look at this club, I think some of the lows, we know about the defense and the base running, but also some of the lows have been, for me, the defense is huge, right? But, and I'm repeating myself, Houck, nothing. Bayo has 2 wins. Buehler hasn't given you much. Giolito finally. So, and then Story was in, and Campbell were really, but the guys, right? Your guys, Story, Houck, Bayo, Giolito, Buehler. You need those, your guys, your core guys to be good. You have no chance. It's tough to rely on a lot of these guys. I love Narvaez. I'm not sure he's going to hit 285 to 300 all year, right? There could be a time where he hits a wall and he won't be able to back cleanup anymore. But for the time being, he's pretty good defensively, which helps. We don't need him, right? We don't need him to be the 4th hitter. He is hitting 4th now, but we need other guys to step up. Toro's been outstanding. I mean, Roman Anthony can hit. It's impressive. His whole approach is impressive. I think Meyer is really good defensively at 3rd, and Campbell looks kind of out of sorts at times, doesn't he? And what's going to happen when Julio Abreu comes back? I don't know. I don't like, I've said this many times. I don't like Duran playing center. I don't like moving everyone. I don't like taking Rafael out of that position. I know. I'm stubborn with that, and I probably could post this. The Jaron Durant should have been charged with an error last night and left. 2 nights ago, I am very fortunate from I wonder if I can share my screen. I think I can, right? Um, oh, yeah, I can share my screen. When you guys watch the games, watch how many times with 2 outs, you're aggressive sending a guy from second base, but at Fenway Park the other night, Danny Jansen and I actually paused and took a screenshot of this. I don't even think he was right about the step at third, maybe a foot from the bag. Duran had the ball and left, and they're waving in Danny Jansen, the slowest guy on earth, and Duran bobbled it. He would have been out. If Rafael was in left field, they wouldn't have sent him, and he would have been out by 45 feet. So and then last night he butchered the ball. So to play center for me, no. I actually like Roman Anthony in right field. I think he'll be fine there. Yeah, it really is Uncle Biff 1960. It really is. I say this with love to Red Sox fans. I know you're heavily invested in your team, but trust me on this. There's a lot of teams out there that don't even hit the way you do and have a way better record because they can pitch. Pitching will always get you further. You can be a bad hitting club and have more wins with pitching. Like the Rockies are horrible and everything, you know? Dodgers are the exception. Dodgers and Yankees are leading Major League Baseball in hitting. The Red Sox, as a team average, are sixth in Major League Baseball. They are fifth in runs scored. You can say, well, some of those I don't care. They're fifth. Now they lead in strikeouts, but let's go to pitching. The ERA is in the bottom. Chicago has a better ERA than you. Not by much, but they still do. There's exceptions. Atlanta has a good ERA. They're hitting in this 16-game stretch. I think they're hitting like 211. It's crazy. But you look at the Rays in the American League. Rays have the fifth best ERA. They have 36 wins. Houston is fourth. They have 36. Detroit is second. They have 44. Texas leads the league in ERA. They're 3 games under. There are going to be exceptions. But the teams in the bottom, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. White Sox, Red Sox, Angels, Orioles, Athletics, they're all under 500, with the Sox and Angels being like the teams that are remotely close to being at 500. And the Red Sox also have the worst defense in the big leagues. But pitching, and some of these young guys, I like the young guy. I mean, I of course, I watched them. But again, be patient with them. They're going to have their peaks and valleys. I know I beat that dead horse about pitching, but I just don't think we've seen it here. If you were following the Tigers right now, Detroit is, let's see where they are in runs scored. They're near the top. Well, they're right behind the Red Sox. But I don't think if you looked at that team offensively, you'd be screaming, that is a murderer's row. Torkelson's good, Carpenter, Green. They got some, they got some pieces. They don't really run that much, but man, do they pitch. It is impressive to look at that club, that bullpen. They got 3 guys with sub-2 ERAs in that pen. with Skubal, Mize, Flaherty, Job, and they've been healthy. They have 4 starters that have been pretty good. Olsen has been hurt a little bit, but that is a really good core. If Detroit had hiccups with their pitching, they would not be 20 games over. That's a good starting unit right there. The Red Sox are not remotely close to having starters, outside of Crochet. Right now, performance, I would not take their 2 through 5 over your 2 through 5. I would swap that out. If you swap that out, we're playing, fantasy here. You might have a lot more wins. Okay, the Red Sox are 3.5 back. They have Walker Buehler on the mounds tonight. This, I know from being in baseball and finishing out a series when you have an off day tomorrow, that is the best feeling. So the Red Sox have a back-to-back chance to take 2 out of 3 from a division opponent with the Yankees coming to town, and a chance here to do some really good things and win 3 straight series against the Yankees and the Rays. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you soon on Friday night before the Sox and Yanks.